and basketball season getting into full swing. The Auburn Tigers took to the field to a sold-out Jordan-Hare Stadium on Saturday and coached Cadillac's first game as head coach in the stadium he used to play in. Here's Eagle Eye's Ethan Miller on the game.
The Auburn Tigers hosted the Texas A&M Aggies this past Saturday night at Jordan-Hare Stadium in a game where the Tigers came out on top by a score of 13-10. The ball security issue started early as Robbie Ashford could not hold on to the snap, ultimately resulting in a ball on the ground and a scramble. Nonetheless, the Tigers would march down the field for their only touchdown of the game, courtesy of this Robbie Ashford throw. The defense would show up and show out as DJ James would intercept Texas A&M quarterback Connor Wegman, but it would ultimately end up getting called back. Jarquez Hunter would go on and get a big gain for Auburn. He would finish with 121 yards on the ground, which gave him his first 100-plus yard rushing game of the year. At the end of the half, Robbie Ashford would throw up a prayer in which it was ultimately picked off by Texas A&M in the end zone as time expired. Colby Wooden would make a huge play in the fourth quarter. Wooden would come around the edge and complete a strip sack to give Auburn the ball back, which ultimately led to a field goal that would put the Tigers up by 10. Texas A&M would try to answer, but it would not be enough. They would make a late run down the field, which ultimately led to a touchdown, but it was all too late. The Tigers would go on to win, and head coach Cadillac Williams would get his first win in his role as interim head coach, capped off with a Gatorade bath from Derek Hall and Owen Papa. Robbie Ashford would have this to say about the game.
It just feels good. Been a rough year, but man, we don't persevere, stay together, just had to do what we had to do to win. I mean, I can't thank him enough for telling me this is my team, and him just believing in me, but man, season ain't gone we wanted to, but just to get this win for him and just for Auburn means so much. I love Auburn. I love Auburn family, and I appreciate them for taking me in like this. I just love Auburn.
The Tigers will host Western Kentucky this Saturday at 3 p.m. in what will be the final game of the season at Jordan-Hare Stadium. For Eagle Eye TV, this is Ethan Miller.
Following the win, the Tigers will be back in Jordan-Hare this weekend when they host Western Kentucky. The Tigers come into the game as one of the score's favorites over the Hillstoppers with their air raid offense. The game will kick off at 3 p.m. Central Time and will be broadcasted on SEC Network.
Big things are happening to the Auburn football program, but one of those biggest is the brand new state-of-the-art football-only facility that the team will move into next season. Eagle Eye's Colin Beiersdorf got the chance to take a tour and see what it's all about.
I'm here at the brand new Waltos Football Performance Center. The brand new facility sits at 240,000 square feet and it's built on 12 acres and it features 3 practice fields, 2 indoor and 1 outdoor. If you ever wondered what $92 million could buy you, well, here's your answer. We entered through the main entrance where Auburn's championship trophies are proudly displayed. Around the trophies sits thousands of feet of video board, all of which can be changed to display different things. As you enter, we get to the weight room, which is just smaller than the new Publix downtown. The weight room is equipped with state-of-the-art technology used to track how the players train. All of the information can be loaded onto leaderboards in the middle of the weight room to promote friendly competition. There are cinematic lights that can focus on individual racks to be used on max days. Moving from the weight room, we see the practice fields. The indoor field can pump in crowd noise up to 120 decibels to simulate opposing crowds or the roar of Jordan-Hare, whichever you'd prefer to attribute it to. Right outside of the outdoor fields is the Sport Med and Hydrotherapy Center. There are plenty of medical tables, but what's new is the assortment of pools, including a plunge pool to replace ice baths and a HydroWorks 2000 pool that has underwater cameras and a treadmill to ensure players are rehabbing correctly. Attached to the rehab area is the first of 2 locker rooms in the facility. This locker room is described as more of a player lounge. The circular room is not meant to hold equipment and is just there for players to have a place to relax. Did I mention there's a barbershop inside? The second locker room, affectionately called the Armory, was modeled off of the idea of a mudroom. This space is where players will keep all of their equipment. Each locker is equipped with a helmet dryer, shoulder pad dryer, and storage compartment for braces and cleats. The air in this room is cycled in and out every 4 hours, 365 days a year. At the end of the hall, there's an equipment lab filled to the brim with technology. But the main attraction is the Falcon Pursuit machine, which takes thousands of photos of a player in less than a minute to determine the correct specs for medical equipment. That equipment can then be 3D printed in the same lab in just under an hour. Upstairs, there's coaches' offices and what can be described as an indoor teaching space. Using this wall, players can line up face-to-face against life-size video of their opponents in order to learn formations. Needless to say, I think everyone involved in the Auburn program is excited to make the new facility home. This has been Colin Beiersdorf reporting for Eagle Eye TV.
When we come back, we'll go over basketball, volleyball, and some big Auburn gymnastics news. You're watching Sports Night in Auburn. Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. On Friday, Auburn took on South Florida's Bulls in the second half of a home-and-home series. Here's Eagle Eye's Zach Scard on the game.
Auburn men's basketball had their second game of the season against South Florida and pulled out the 68-59 win despite being down by 9 going into halftime. South Florida out-rebounded, outshot, and won the turnover battle against the Tigers in the first 20 minutes of the game. The jungle was loud throughout the game though, and following this dunk by Chris Moore ignited the crowd. To not be rewarded in the first half with no one grabbing rebounds, leading to plenty of second chance points for the Bulls. Coming back into the second half, point guard Wendell Green Jr. caught fire for 18 points, including a couple highlight passes like this one to freshman Yohan Traore for the first lead of the game. Alan Flanagan also had a good game shooting, finishing with 18 points. The USF Bulls refused to quit though and constantly capitalized off of Auburn mistakes to keep the game close. With 9 minutes left in the game, Green made this awe-inspiring no-look lob to Dylan Cardwell after stealing the ball on the other side of the floor. Not even Cardwell could believe it. The Tigers' ball movement separated themselves from USF, and with 5 minutes left, Green hit an incredible reverse layup after leaving a Bull defender on the ground. Auburn ended up winning the game 68-59. For Eagle Eye TV, I'm Zach Card.
Auburn taking on Winthrop in Neville Arena. The Tigers jumped from 15 to 13 in the AP poll this week, and they backed it up early. First half was the Janai Broom show. Starting the game off with a big block there, Wendell Green scooped up the board and dished the outlet pass to Chris Moore for the easy deuce. Off the KD Johnson missed three. Broom got the rebound and just big-bodied his way in for the bucket and the flex. Disrespectful. Broom finished the game with 18 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 blocks. Freshman guard Chance Westry made his season debut yesterday and got into the action quickly, sinking the mid-range jumper and a foul. Westry doing more work on the next trip down, floating around the paint and dumping it off to Dylan Cardwell for the two-handed slam. Auburn led 39-26 at the half. The guards carried the Auburn offense out of the gates in the second half. Wendell Green Jr. came out firing, nailing threes left and right per usual. He had 16 points on the night, and Trey Donaldson got in on the fun too, scooping up the offensive rebound and getting nice with the reverse at the rim. I hope he likes some jelly with his toast. He was pumped, and so was the jungle, as Westry dropped a dime to Cardwell for the big jam. He said, better luck next time. Auburn would win easily 89-65 over Winthrop. The Tigers take on Texas Southern at home Friday night at 7 p.m. For Eagle Eye TV, I'm Vince Wolfram.
In other basketball news, Bruce Pearl and company continue to bring the best recruits to the Plains. Aiden Holloway signed his national letter of intent on Monday. The 6'1" guard is ranked as the 21st overall player in the 2023 class by ESPN.
Auburn moved up to 13 in the latest AP poll, jumping SEC foe Tennessee and TCU. As for the rest of the top 25, the top 5 teams all stayed put, though Kentucky lost last night in overtime against Tom Izzo and the Michigan State Spartans. So expect a big drop for the Wildcats. And Arkansas and Creighton flipped to round out your top 10.
We already touched on the former 11th-ranked Tennessee Volunteers losing to Colorado, but the Vols came in 22nd in this week's polls. The Illinois Illini are the biggest movers up, going from 23rd to 19th. They have a showdown against number 8 UCLA on Friday, so look forward to that.
Only 2 teams fell out of the top 25. First, we've got former number 21 Oregon, who lost handedly to UC Irvine 69-56, and 16 Villanova, who lost to the team right down the road in Temple 68-64. Since the poll dropped on Monday, we've had multiple teams lose. We touched on Kentucky losing. In addition to the Wildcats, number 6 Arkansas and number 7 Duke faced off last night in the second half of the State Farm Classic. Kansas came away with the win with a final score of 69-64.
Current number 15, TCU, then lost to Northwestern State, so expect them to drop out of the poll. Dayton was the final team to lose last night after UNLV rallied back from 12 down to defeat the Flyers 60-52.
Auburn volleyball does it again. The girls traveled to Oxford on Friday and left with a 3-1 win over the Rebs. The Tigers improved to 21-5, tying the 2010 teams in total wins, and still more opportunities to come. Freshman Kendall Kemp officially set the program's single-season block record with 144. She rightfully earned SEC Defensive Player of the Week honors. Crouch and his team will get 12 days of rest before a road test against South Carolina, then wrap up their regular season at home with a 2-game series against Arkansas.
On Tuesday, Suni Lee announced via her Instagram that the 2023 season will be her last competing for Auburn. Lee will return to elite gymnastics in preparation for the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. Lee said, quote, "Competing for Auburn has always been a dream of mine. I've learned so much about myself, true teamwork, and about community during my time here. My focus right now is to make it the most incredible season yet, and to be the best teammate I can be, to strive for excellence, and to reach our maximum potential."
Before Auburn and Texas A&M battled on the gridiron, the two faced off at the Auburn Equestrian Center, where the 4th-ranked Tigers defeated the 5th-ranked Aggies 10-6. The Tigers had 3 riders win Most Outstanding Performer awards. Ellie Ferrigno won her 2nd Fences MOP of the season, while Mary Grace Sagers won her 2nd MOP in flat.
The last MOP came from Olivia Tordorf. The senior won her 3rd straight MOP in the horsemanship category, the 15th of her career. Equestrian finishes up their fall season this week when they take on Bridgewater in a jumping seat-only competition Thursday before they face off against Oklahoma State, the defending national champs, on Friday afternoon.
Women's basketball entered Thursday's game severely short-handed due to an illness getting passed around the team. Head coach Johnny Harris and 3 players were all missing from action against South Alabama.
In light of Coach Harris's absence, Demetria Buchanan took over role of head coach, leading the team to a 71-64 victory over the Jaguars. Aisha Kolabali led the Tigers in scoring 19 points. The junior also pulled in 5 rebounds on the night. Kolabali left the game early in the first quarter after a scary play in which she took an elbow to the face and hit the deck hard.
South Alabama took a 21-18 lead midway through the second quarter before a 15-0 Auburn run gave the Tigers the lead that they did not give up for the rest of the match. For the second straight game, freshmen had a large impact for the Tigers. Caitlin Duhan scored 17 points in her 2nd collegiate game. She added 7 rebounds, 3 steals, and 2 blocks to her game totals.
Fellow freshman Clarissa Richardson contributed 9 points and 7 boards, while classmate Sydney Shaw had 8 points and 3 assists. The Tigers were given a chance to get healthy with their next game coming tonight against Georgia Tech after a 6-day break.
Both the men's and women's cross-country teams competed in the NCAA South Regional in Huntsville, Alabama over the weekend. Out of the 14 Auburn runners, 11 of them set personal bests at the competition. The men finished the regional in 5th place, their best finish since 2015. Ryan Canan led the team, finishing in 7th individually.
As for the women, they finished in 11th, led by Samantha Rogers, who ran a 20-minute and 7-second 6K. On Selection Saturday, Canan was selected to compete in the NCAA Championship in Stillwater, Oklahoma on Saturday. Canan is the first Tiger to make the championship since Kane Grimster and Ty McCormick did it in 2014. When we come back, we'll talk about Auburn in the NFL and NBA. You're watching Sports Night in Auburn.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. It was a breakthrough week for some former Auburn players in the NFL. Perhaps the most notable is Green Bay safety Rudy Ford. After laying low for 6 years in the NFL, Ford had a career game in Sunday's win over the Dallas Cowboys. Coming into the contest with 1 career interception, he picked off fellow SEC alum Dak Prescott not once, but twice in the second quarter. Both interceptions resulted in touchdowns for the Packers.
Darius Slayton continues to be an integral piece of the Giants' wide receiver core. On the first drive of the third quarter, on the third down, Slayton made a 54-yard catch and ran a touchdown. He finished the night with 3 catches for 95 yards, the 5th highest of his career. Stepping onto the scene is Pittsburgh's Montavious Adams. The 6-year veteran only played 13 snaps, but earned a PFF grade of 89.7 and 2 tackles, playing a key role in the Steel City defense dominance that gave Philadelphia Eagles their first loss of the season.
Jabari Smith recorded his 2nd career double-double last Wednesday in a loss to the Toronto Raptors. Smith finished with 15 points and 10 blocks in his first trip to the team up north.
Walker Kessler tied his career high in point in a game against the Hawks last Wednesday. The big man finished with 12 points and 6 rebounds and 3 blocks in the win. Isaac Okoro saw in a season high in minutes on Sunday against the Timberwolves. Okoro only scored 8 points but finished with a plus-minus of 15 in a game that wasn't decided until the final minutes.
JT Thor saw his least usage of the season, averaging 5.4 minutes of play through 3 games this week. In a 4th game, Thor sat the bench for the entirety of the contest. Thor totaled 4 points, 2 rebounds, an assist, and a steal during the week. On the other side of the coin, Chuma Okeke started in all 3 games he played in this week after not starting all year. Okeke played in 30-plus minutes in each game. The most he played in before this week was 28 minutes in a game against Thor and the Hornets in October. Okeke averaged 9.7 points per game through his 3 starts.
For more information on Auburn athletics, be sure to check out our website at eagleeyeauburn.com and to stay up to date on all things Auburn sports with our Twitter at EETV_sports. I'm Liv Moore.
And I'm Jenny Jordan. Thank you for watching. Good night and War Eagle.